How's it going, everyone? Data here, and welcome back to the Seattle Kraken franchise mode, episode number 11, here in the second half of our third season with the Kraken, the 2023-24 regular season. In the last one, we left off with a record of 20-20-1. We're at 500 halfway through the season after 41 games played. 3-7-0 in our last 10. Our big boys are coming out to play, but we're having a lot of depth issues. Before I get into this one, I just want to say that I hope that everyone's having a wonderful beginning of their holiday seasons with Christmas right around the corner, with Christmas coming up, and with both my full-time and my part-time work on pause for the holidays. All of the stars and the planets are aligning for a little bit of a break myself, which includes a little bit from the channel. So I'll probably be taking, 5, 6, 7, 8 days, about a week off after this upload goes up. And then the next episode, hopefully the playoffs, fingers crossed, will be after Christmas, December 27, 28, something around that time. But there will be some Twitch streams sprinkled in there, so make sure you're following the Twitch page, link in the description. As you can see, our big dogs are coming out to eat, as I mentioned earlier. Beniers, Tarasenko, McKinnon. McKinnon slacking a bit by his standards, but all the big players are coming out. The struggle is in our bottom six mostly, where we have McCann, Kaut at -16, -14 respectively. Jake Beans at -14 out of nowhere. Jonas Donskoy, who we brought in as a good two-way forward with 4-star defense, is a -11. So the bottom six, especially the third line, has been having a lot of issues, and that is in part due to how we fell victim to the new NHL 22 game update, which scrambled existing coaches' line chemistry preferences. Aside from our top line, which has a +2, mostly due to the X factors, our lineup is just 0, 0, 0 in the offense. Defense, we're rolling with 0, 0, +2, but Dennis Cholowski's been doing so well. Despite this -2 on the top pair with Ethan Bear, he does still have a +20 with 16 points. So hats off to Dennis Cholowski over here, our pick from the Red Wings in the expansion draft. Ethan Bear, 6 goals, 11 assists, and a +16 for him as well. So he's been good, but our depth has not been great, and our goaltending hasn't been good either. We had Malcolm Subban backed up by Philip Gustafsson. We picked up Craig Anderson on waivers. None of them have been, horrible, hovering around a 900 save percentage and 3 goals against average, but they haven't been good enough. Not horrible, not good enough. That's where we're kind of at. And Gustafsson has not been good in the games that we've seen him play, despite having such a good end to the season last year. So, all that being said, we reached the playoffs and won our division, went to the end of round 2 in year number 1. Last year, we squeaked into the playoffs and lost in the first round. Now we're barely at 500, and we want to really make sure we make the playoffs this season as much as possible. I know it's not the end of the world if we don't. We're not necessarily a cup contender yet, but I do think that this team could be doing better than they're showing right now. I think a little bit of a goaltending change would make a big difference, as well as possibly getting some more scoring in the lineup. So that is where we turn to all the assistant GMs in the comments. So a few suggestions coming in the last one. Grievous saying, chemistry. Data, you have spent way too long teaching us about line chemistry to have barely any yourself. Again, mostly in part to the coach being scrambled by the game update, but I agree. I think that trading for a forward who can skyrocket chem on the first or second line would be imperative, and that forward would preferably be a winger. Possible trade guys could be middle six wingers, or you could use valuable picks that currently wouldn't yield any prospects of note. But it is a strong draft this year, so I do want to try and stay away from trading picks as much as possible. Defense, again, chemistry. The guys have not been awful enough to warrant a trade, but a stud who's 88 plus overall would really be a force for the back end that needs it desperately to become top tier. Hey, I would love that too. If a draftee is available with elite potential, do what must be done to move up. At the same time, we do have Jiricek, we do have Matachuk, we do have defensive prospects, but I understand the point nonetheless. Goalie, an entrenched future starter in Peyton Wilm, 79 overall, 19-year-old prospect in the AHL. No need to move on from Subban or Philip Gustafsson. Good luck. Thank you, Grievous. Aiden has a few suggestions. First off, he likes Mackenzie Weegar or Keandre Miller on the trade blocks. Keandre Miller would not work anymore since we're past the time where he could play for us this season, but Mackenzie Weegar is still on the block. He does have a fair amount of trade value, which is the only issue there. Second player, Thomas Tatar. Offense has been fine, but he would be a good piece to add. Low trade value, and we have the cap space. 1-year deal would be a rental. Third player, we're thinking about goaltenders, and it really comes down to Jeremy Swayman and even Alex Nedeljkovic on the block, but he has too much term, and Ben Bishop. Aiden likes Jeremy Swayman. He's an upgrade over Gus and Subban. He has good numbers so far, looks solid. Nedeljkovic has too much term because Wilm is on the way. Bishop, also make note of him. Can't wait for the trade deadline. Thanks for the vids. Go Kraken. Thank you very much, Aiden. Michael being a little bit of a voice of reason here, saying just who showed restraint in episode number 9. Please let the team grow organically and show some here. As for the coach, 2 playoff appearances in 2 seasons with a young team is pretty good. A good coach is hard to find. How soon we forget about the Minnesota Wild days in NHL 21. I say make small moves and wait until the offseason to reevaluate. Heart the vids, keep going, and let's get Kraken lacking. Thank you, Michael. It is tough because Giordano has done so well for us, our head coach, but it's almost as if, and literally, he is a different person now. He has totally different preferences, and although the ratings are still there, how much do you go by the ratings, how much by the preferences? That's a difficult situation to mediate. So I guess we'll have to see if a bit of an upgrade to the team will allow him to flourish. If the team still struggles with an upgrade or multiple upgrades, then we know it's most likely time to move on in the offseason. Vinny thinks that Ben Bishop would be the perfect addition to the team until Wilm can make his NHL debut. He is performing really well over on Edmonton. I think he can translate that progress over on Seattle, unless EA Voodoo says otherwise. Great job, Data. Looking forward to more videos coming during the next couple of weeks. Thank you very much, Vinny. Isaiah leaves a great comment. If I was the GM, I would 100% trade for a goalie. Subban is capable to start, but is he really capable to start an entire season? If you trade for a goalie and the team still does bad, fire the coach. I think the coach is on the hot seat. Could not agree more. It's a perfectly rational position to have where we say, okay, he's had a good track record, hopefully a better team he can do more things with, but at the same time, he's on that hot seat, can't lie. Pat wouldn't be upset if we gave Ben Bishop a crack, but he thinks that now is the time to pull the trigger on Peyton Wilm being on the main squad. Those AHL numbers are absurd, they really are, and it will likely help his growth. Fingers crossed for the second half. It's difficult to figure out what helps a prospect's growth and what doesn't. If I bring Wilm from a very good AHL team that is currently 31-11-1 and put him on a struggling NHL team and make him the starter at 19 years of age, is that too much? Can he handle it? You can never really know for sure. Other suggestions. Jack, when it comes to trade suggestions, as long as it helps the chemistry, Tyler Johnson might be a guy to jumpstart the 3rd or 4th line. In the last year of his deal, not a lot of trade value, wouldn't cost too much. Jordan Eberle, prefer Tyler Johnson to him because there's the flexibility of center to wing, but same reasons here for Eberle. Low trade value, decent overall, expiring contract, and you should really go for only one of those, whoever fits the chemistry better. Send Martin Kaut the other way or one of your 4th liners in a potential deal. Jeremy Swayman, he's cheap, does not have much trade value, and he's a good starter for next year when Peyton Wilm will hopefully be backing him up. After that, you can decide how long you want to keep him based on what he's asking for and Wilm's growth. And you need goaltending bad if you want to take a good shot at the playoffs. Subban or Gus probably going the other way in a deal there. Deadline note, stay away from Bishop. He's doing well, and the storyline would be great, but he's 37, he has another year at just over $3 million, and he will only add to the logjam of middling starters / good backups that we already have. Swayman is younger, better, cheaper, and won't decline at the end of the season. Stay away from any multi-year deals at the deadline aside from Swayman. You got to let the young guys show what they've got. Rentals like Johnson or Eberle would be the way to go. If we go deep in the playoffs, that's a plus, but if we don't, we aren't tied down to anyone term-wise, and the young guys have the potential to be called up if they are good enough. Concerning extensions, what Bean was asking for earlier is a great contract considering his production and age. He has had an okay year this year. It was more due to the lack of chemistry than anything else. He's cheaper than Alexiak at that cap hit and is a better defenseman. Finishing off the YouTube comments here, Scott says, if we're talking purely bridge-type goalies, I agree, Bishop is the guy, especially with the noted storyline possibilities. Agrees with Grievous, though. We need to fix chemistry somehow, especially on defense and our bottom 6. That should help whoever we have in net, whether it's Bishop, Anderson, Subban, Gus, or even the ghost of Hap Holmes. Thank you, Scott. Over the Discord server, Maddie was replying to Pat's comment about getting Peyton Wilm into the NHL. He says, gotta be careful about the narrative of rushing a goalie prospect to the NHL too soon. The kid's 19 and in his first AHL season. Would an IRL team want to keep him down there for consistency/developmental reasons? Pat sees that 100%, while I'm leaning Peyton at 19 getting a crack. Another half season of seasoning with a Bishop stopgap won't exactly turn me off the series. And Maddie agrees, narrative's tough because it could easily be spun the other way. First round pick, dominated wherever he's been, taking the prospect nerd community by storm. He's top 5 every prospect ranking site in the fake universe. Then all of a sudden, calling him up sounds like the realistic move to make. But for what it's worth, I'm still team keep Wilm in the AHL. Zach says keep him in the AHL. I hate it when prospects get called up mid-season. They need a smooth transition to the league, which involves a whole training camp and preseason with the locks. I get it when it comes to the NCAA players, but if they're in the minors, please leave them there until garbage time games or the playoffs. Closing it off now with Hobbsy. He says Bishop would be the target if we're trading for a goalie. Now it's just a matter of him or Wilm. I want Wilm to come up and lead the team to the playoffs, but I think it'd be best to leave him in the AHL for the remainder of the year. If selling guys is the way to go, then just guys with expiring deals would be the guys to move if they don't have a future in Seattle. Also, it's the deadline, so Dawson Mercer. Dawson Mercer available on the block from the Pittsburgh Penguins right now. So I appreciate all those thoughts. Thank you to all the assistant GMs for tossing those in, how to turn this team around if we're going to get it done, and synthesizing that all in my brain as always as the person who has to have the final decision in all of these possibilities. Here's what I'm thinking. I think we definitely need some scoring in our middle six. So it really comes down to guys like Jordan Eberle or Thomas Tatar. Tyler Johnson is interesting over on the Chicago Blackhawks, but the thing about Tyler Johnson, if I just go and sort by skaters matching the block, is that at an 83 overall, he is more that two-way guy who you would think would help defensively, but is a negative 15 and has 10 points in 42 games. 77 on faceoff, so he'd probably play on the wing. 86 offensive awareness, which is nice, but I think his overall is a bit boosted by things like his acceleration and his agility that don't really matter, actually don't matter in these simulations. So Tyler Johnson, I don't think he's as good as we may think. And on the third line, where we've been struggling defensively, I don't know how bringing a guy who's negative 15 into the fold would really help us too much. Over on the Buffalo Sabres is Thomas Tatar, another team that's doing very well right now, 25, 14, and 2 was that? 84 overall, which is very nice, but chemistry-wise, he fits forward line 2, which is good, but it makes him pretty exclusive, second line only. 88 offensive awareness, 4-star shooting, very nice. But over on the New York Islanders, where they have a bunch of people on the block for some reason, despite their winning record, Jordan Eberle on an expiring contract, a little bit more trade value and lower overall, but 18 points in 42 games, plus 7, 89 offensive awareness, 4-star shooting as well, higher power, better puck skills, and he fits the top 6 power play and penalty kill. Not going to play the penalty kill, but all top 6 and power play is a bit more promising. The Islanders are fed up with him maybe. He's on pace for a pretty low season. 36 points he's on pace for. And 16 goals, same as last season, but really only 16 goals, 20 assists. So they're probably not happy with them. Expiring deal. They're a playoff team, but maybe a bit fringy at the moment. They want to get something better in return before they just let him go for nothing. So Jordan Eberle is the guy that I am looking to target when it comes to the forwards. Everyone else with multi-years, I'm not sure about commitments there. So Jordan Eberle coming in, I wouldn't want to send too much back the other way, and I'm really thinking about, although it hurts, just like Jack's comments said though, Martin Kaut is probably the guy to go back. He's 24 years of age at 81 overall, not terrible, but he was supposed to be a good two-way guy. He only has 3-star defense, and he's a bit of an odd forward when it comes to the offensive part of his game. 83 offensive awareness and 3.5-star shooting, 14 points and a negative 14 in 41 games. Obviously, that's on pace for good numbers. He's on pace for 28 points, which would be a career high. He only had 8 points in 41 games last season. So he'd be on pace for 8 goals and 20 assists. Not bad at all for, I guess, his first full NHL season. But playing like third-line minutes every night, he's playing over 12 minutes a night, almost 13 minutes a night. He's getting real good opportunities out there, and only 4 goals on pace for 8. I'm not sure if I like his offensive future here. So it seems like the trade value is in our favor a little bit. If I trade Kaut to the Islanders, I know we got Couch pretty much as the main piece back for the from the Avalanche. Basically, when they gave us him, so we wouldn't take Gabriel Landeskog from the team. That's, you know, it's unfortunate they didn't really work out. There's a lot of prospects that didn't really work out. We took shots on a lot of guys. And Gauthier, not all of them work out, but I don't think that he's one of them. And if I could get some scoring right now on it, and you know, next season, do I really guarantee that he has a third line spot after being so bad defensively? If there's someone better, I don't think so. So get my trade value out of him now. Send him to the Islanders, who could take a young player. Maybe they want to try him out and see what he does for them. Throw in a couple 6th-round picks in a strong draft, and I'd be down to do this trade. Islanders, what do you say to this? Trade rejected. Aren't where you need to be. So let me try a 6th and a 7th here from the Islanders, 6th and a 7th in this year's draft, and they accept that. Okay, so on behalf of the New York Islanders organization, I accept your trade offer. We'll see you out on the ice. All right, so Jordan Eberle, you weren't drafted here in the expansion draft, but now you can join your good old friend Josh Bailey, and we now have 2 former Islanders on the Seattle Kraken. Let me fix up these lines, and we'll get back to the trade screen. All right, and obviously I meant Josh Bailey. He's gone now, but we had 2 former Islanders, as they will not be able to reunite, unfortunately. Moving over to, the Edmonton Oilers now, looking at Ben Bishop. Here's the thing now, it's between Bishop and Swayman. I do lean Bishop, I have to say. Here's the thing with Jeremy Swayman. We go and look at him on the Boston Bruins. Swayman does have a little bit more value. It's not a huge point, but he does have a little bit more value. Medium starter potential, 84 overall. The thing is, although he has 2 years left, we know that he'd be leaving after those 2 years. I wouldn't have the money to sign him as a UFA or to make him a backup. He'd want to be a starter. Jeremy Swayman, although it would work for this season and next season, I'd rather go Ben Bishop because Bishop can be our starter right now. Next year, if Wilm is ready to be our starter, Bishop can be the backup. If Wilm is ready, he's a backup kind of fringe starter, then Bishop can take a lot of the load for him. Instead of Swayman having to to be relegated to backup, we can keep that option of Bishop being a starter or a backup, or they kind of split time next season. We move out Subban, Craig Anderson, whatever, this offseason, or even right now in this trade. And Phil Gustafsson, not sure what's going to happen with him. Maybe he's the 3rd goalie or what. But regardless, we don't need to have a big logjam at goalie because we know after these 2 years, Bishop is gone. This year, starter. Next year, fringe starter / backup. Year after that, finito. Done. So if I send back Malcolm Subban, and the reason they want to trade Ben Bishop, even though they're a good team, is because they have Freddie Anderson and they have Mike Smith in the minors. Now Malcolm Subban becomes your 3rd goalie, your starter in the AHL / your fringe guy in the NHL. And next season in the real world, without Smith and Bishop, he becomes Freddie Anderson's backup. So I think that makes sense for the Oilers to want to do this. Malcolm Subban for Ben Bishop. Even Malcolm Subban, he wouldn't be staying here anyways because he's on an expiring deal. Hasn't been great. I'm tempted to trade Julien Gauthier there as well, but I'm going to wait on him. Maybe he becomes useful as an extra forward. We don't know what's going to happen with injuries. Brandon Tanev's also here for injuries, so I'm not going to do anything else. I'll try to squeeze a pick out of this as well. Malcolm Subban, our pick in the expansion draft from the Blackhawks. He, in his first season here, he was in the minors, had great numbers, at least really good goals against average, 44 wins. In 2022-23, when we got rid of Grubauer, he became our starter, went 20-15-5, and this season has a winning record, but difficult numbers. So if we trade him away here, he will end his Kraken career with 34 wins, 27 losses, 6 overtime losses, and 4 shutouts. 34, 27, and 6 with a plus 900 save percentage. Not horrible for an 82 overall, who we really called upon, and he delivered when we needed him to deliver, and now he's kind of just in over his head, and that's okay. It's okay to admit that. So I'm going to see what the Oilers would want to give us. I don't know. I'm going to try big and go small. Start with a 3rd and a 4th. Rejected. Yeah, not up to snuff at all. Just the 3rd. No. Always got to ask and see. Always got to ask and see. Quite far off. We'll try just the 5th. Quite far off. Let's try a 7th this year and a 6th next year. Rejected. Quite far off. Okay, so we'll just try the 7th. Bishop and the 7th. I'm happy to accept this proposal on behalf of the Edmonton Oilers. We consider it a done deal. So we get a 7th round pick with Ben Bishop. Who knows what that could become for Malcolm Subban. I wish you all the best, Malcolm. They needed to just get rid of Bishop and his contract. They needed to free up that roster spot to bring Mike Smith up. and I wish him all the best in Edmonton. One last trade that I would like to do over on the Pittsburgh Penguins would be to listen to Assistant GM Hobbsy and try to pick up Dawson Mercer. This series is all about doing what you guys want to see. This series is all about doing what the assistant GMs think is best, and he really wants to see Dawson Mercer on this team. 75 overall, 22 years of age, medium top 6 potential, the former first-round pick, 18th overall, the New Jersey Devils. He is a sniper, 86 offensive awareness, still growing, has great shot power. Nothing crazy at the moment, and honestly, if it doesn't work out, I'm not going to force it, but I am going to just try and give it give it an effort, so I can say that I tried my best. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But if I take Julien Gauthier, I just said I wanted to keep him, but now if I do admit that, okay, Gauthier can move out and just Tanev would be the guy that I rely on. If I move out Gauthier, not much else to throw the other way. Maybe I could give Bengtson here, low top 6, so he was a draftee out of the 3rd round for us. I'd prefer to keep him, but if I can turn Gauthier, who I'm not using, and Bengtson, who we're not sure about, into a medium top 6 prospect, then I'll give it a try. So, Pittsburgh, what do you say to this? Trade rejected. We're not particularly interested. I don't blame you. As the draft pick situation, we have our first, 2 seconds, 2 thirds, 2 fourths, 2 sixths, and 3 sevenths right now. So if I toss in the Edmonton 7th that I just got from the Ben Bishop deal, still quite far off. This is a strong draft, so I really don't want to give up a lot of picks. Probably the max I'd want to give up is the 6th from the Islanders here. So I'll try that out. Penguins still say we aren't where we need to be in value offered. So I'm probably going to have to leave it there. I know we're not offering a lot, but there's not really much more we can offer. I could toss in Gallagher, medium top 6 D-man, 19 years of age, 60 overall. He was a 4th round pick, defensive defenseman. Okay, 6'5", big boy. I like Gallagher. I prefer not to, but maybe I'll toss in Spruev. Where does it go if I toss in a 7th defenseman here? Spruev, still quite far off. I can throw in that other 7th defenseman, but that would really be the final offer. Him and Stromberg here, 2 7th defensemen who were drafted late here. 6th round pick, both 6th round picks, 2022 and 23 respectively. So Gauthier, Bengtson, Spruev, Stromberg, and a 6th for Dawson Mercer. Hey, that was the final offer, and the Penguins take it. I am happy to accept this proposal on behalf of the Pittsburgh Penguins, and we consider it a done deal. So one of those 6ths from the Eberle trade turns into Dawson Mercer. So there you go, Hobbsy, and everyone else who wanted to see a little bit of the representation out east. So let me get him into the AHL lineup, fix Eberle on the special teams in the NHL lineup, all that good stuff, get Bishop between the pipes, and then we can simulate the second half of this season. Alright, so here we are, ready for the second half of year number 3. Jordan Eberle, I'm going to mix up the lines a little bit and try him on the second line. If I put Trocheck up to the top line and swap him with McKinnon, and then put Schwartz down to the 3rd, I get 1-2-0. So I could go 2-0-0 in the top 9, or 1-2-0. I'm going to try the 1-2-0, make Eberle an 85, McKinnon a 97, and Palat an 86. Schwartz hopefully can jumpstart the 3rd line with McCann and Donskoy, and the 4th line stays the same. Trocheck scored 70 points on this first line with Tarasenko, so hopefully put Beniers on the left side, who has 22 goals and 19 assists. That can get something going. Defense, I won't touch for the moment, aside from swapping Bean and Alexiak. And for special teams, we're going to have Jordan Eberle playing on the 2nd unit right here on his offside. So aside from that, Ben Bishop between the pipes, backed up by Craig Anderson at the moment. We're going to wait on Philip Gustafsson. 37 and 42 are the ages here, so an average age of, 39.5 between our 2 goalies right now. Pretty crazy. Down in the AHL, Dawson Mercer is getting a +2 on the 2nd line with Barré-Boulet and Suzuki, as well as other power play time and stuff like that. So we'll keep note of this for the end of the episode. Currently, 27 points in 39 games. We'll see how he does with us on Pacific Palm Springs HC. And Jordan Eberle at the moment, 8 goals, 10 assists in 42 games with 3 power play points. Hopefully, he can really help us out because that's where we need help the most. We can also make note that we currently are scoring 3.41 goals for per game and 3.15 against, down in 7th place in the division. Our power play is at 18.4%, and our penalty kill, which we also changed up at the end of last episode, is at 80.4. So with all that said and done, let's head over to Rogers Arena in Vancouver to start off the second half of this season. The Jets are offering us a 2nd and Chris Driedger for Alexiak, a 3rd, a 4th, and a 5th. No thank you. We're 3-7-0 in our last 10. They are 6-4-0. They're just 6 points ahead of us, and second in the division right now. So it is still anyone's division and playoff spots here in the Pacific. So first game of this new look team. Bishop between the pipes. Eberle in the top 6. Let's hit it. First period, 1-0 Canucks. Podkolzin scores, but 15 shots against in that first period. So Bishop standing tall. 1-0 Vancouver. Second period now, 3-2. So Garland and then Pettersson scoring on the power play. We're down 3-0. But then Jordan Eberle opens it up for us with his first goal of the Seattle Kraken, and Vinny Trocheck gets us back within 1. So we're being outshot 28-18, but it's still only a 1-goal game as the Canucks are up 3-2 headed into the third period. Power play Kraken, and Jaden Schwartz scores on the power play to tie this game up at 3. Power play Canucks, 4-on-3, 5-on-3 for us now. An extended 5-on-3, but nothing comes. 5-on-3 for the Canucks. 5-on-4, we kill that off as well. Just special teams left and right, and Nathan MacKinnon comes through. But then Colson ties it up 4-4 a minute later. Power play Canucks with under 5 to go. It's a tie game with 2 minutes left now. We're back in the shots, and we're headed to overtime. Wow. Shots end 36-30 for Vancouver. It's a 4-4 game. What's going on with the penalties over here? Who's taking all of these penalties? My goodness. So between, let me see, so we took 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We had 10 minor penalties. These were all minors, correct? Yeah, no, sorry. 8 minor penalties, 1 double minor penalty, but that's crazy. And in the third period, after Vancouver had no penalties all game, they got minor, major for checking from behind, and then another minor. So, whew, that's a lot of penalty minutes. Tarasenko with those 2 for hooking. You got to wake up a little bit, Vlad, the captain. So, let's head into overtime and see how this one finishes after a roller coaster of a ride between those last couple periods. All right, so overtime here in Vancouver at Rogers Arena. MacKinnon versus Pettersson at the dot. 4-4 game. It was a hectic third period. A lot of time in the box for both teams. Tarasenko to MacKinnon. It's them two with Ethan Bear out there. Tarasenko tries a short angle shot. That's stopped by Demko. Next goal gets a very important win here in this Pacific Division. Elias Pettersson over the blue line now. MacKinnon trying to keep track of him. Hughes scores. Quinn Hughes with his 6th of the season in overtime. It's a heartbreaker. We do get the 1 point, but that is a heartbreaker. We were up in the third period, but Colson came back to tie it, and Quinn Hughes wins it. Once again, the classic back off the player who has the puck and let him get a shot off here with the AI. Bishop, yeah, MacKinnon, just watch him take that shot. That's great. It's fun to go in to watch, but it's unfortunate when it ends so quickly from the bad AI. It's a point nonetheless. Let's get back to the calendar. So now we take on the Bruins, who are 7-2-1 in their last 10. We're the reverse of that, 2-7-1. Trocheck and a 4th for 2 seconds and a prospect. Are you serious? We'll swap it up here. Probably should have gone Anderson between the pipes against Vancouver, but we'll swap it up as we'll give the night off to Ben Bishop, and Craig Anderson can get the start. Craig is now fighting with Gustafsson for that backup role, as Gus is the higher overall, but has had really shameful performances. So at the Climate Pledge Arena, back at home against the Boston Bruins, it's not going to be an easy one, but we got to come out firing, and we take it 5-2. That's what we like to see. Great performance from Anderson as well, only giving up 2 goals. Okay, let's get Bishop back in and head back to simulating. So Bishop will take on the Wild and then the Rangers as well, I suppose. No, you know what? We'll go Bishop against the Wild, the team that we had him on in our NHL 21 franchise mode. So that's another point of the another reason why we wanted to get him. Plus, having retired in the real world, we want to get him a Stanley Cup, or at least let him go out on his own terms. What are these trades? We lose 3-2 in the shootout against the Minnesota Wild. We're now 21-20-3. We'll go Craig against the Rangers, Bishop against the Penguins, and then Bishop the rest of the way until the next doubleheader. So at Madison Square Garden with Craig Anderson between the pipes, here we go. It's a 4-0 shutout. What? Craig Anderson, wow, really took advantage of a few games off there. Feeling revitalized as we're trusting him a bit more at the backup role. 42 years of age, gets his first shutout since who knows how long in the NHL. Since 2021-22 with Buffalo, he had 3 shutouts that year, but before that, he had 0s for 3 seasons in a row. So how do you do? 7-6-0, 912 save percentage, 2.64 goals against. I think he's our backup, at least for the very foreseeable future. Let's get a few more to Bishop, and we're back to the calendar. So we'll go through a good amount of games now, move into the month of February, and when it comes to the game against the Oilers and Flyers will probably make a little switch there for the doubleheader. Close games here. 6-5 win against the Penguins. Then a tough 2-1 loss against the Flyers. 1-0 shutout victory against the Caps. Oh, I forgot. I didn't notice that was a back-to-back. Then a 4-1 loss against the Hurricanes. Sorry, Big Ben. But then a 4-1 win against the Canadiens. Very nice. But Colorado Avalanche are 18-27-5 without Nate McKinnon. They shut us out 3-0. Okay. We're 25-23-3. We got to keep Ben in against his old team. We'll turn to Craig against the Philadelphia Flyers. Oilers are 26-19-7. So here we go against the team that had him do so well through the first half of the year, but just not enough room for him. They traded him away. First period, 3-1 Kraken. Ethan Bear opens it up. Nate McKinnon on the power play. Leon Draisaitl scores one against Craig. How come Craig Anderson's in there? Because auto-rotate is off, and I had Bishop, so maybe there was an injury? Not sure. But then, okay, so Craig Anderson's in, and Dennis Cholowski, who's having an amazing season, makes it 3-1. Second period, no scoring. Shots are 19-14 in our favor, but only up by 2. That's a dangerous lead to have. I'd love to have somebody add to it. I'm looking at the captain. I'm looking at Jordan Eberle. Power play, 5-on-3 opportunity, 5-on-4. Nothing coming from it as the Oilers kill off both of those. But there's the captain coming through. Hyman's comes right back a minute later on the power play. But thankfully, we still have a 2-goal lead thanks to Vladimir Tarasenko's goal at the 7-minute mark. And we'll end it with a 4-2 victory against the Edmonton Oilers. 3 goals in that first period helped a lot. Matty Beniers with 3 assists. We'll take it. We'll call it a dub. Not sure what happened to Ben Bishop, though. Hopefully there's no injury here as we exit the screen. Nothing there. So let me just check who's between the pipes. No, it's still Bishop. So I guess he got pulled last second. A little bit of food poisoning or something. But Craig Anderson, 9-11 save percentage, 2.60 goals against. No problemo, my friend. Bishop's going to get the start here against the Philadelphia Flyers. And then we will continue on. The Flyers are 31-16-3. We're at home. We're 3 games above 500 in a wild card spot. A big game here. We beat them 5-3. We lost 2-1 last week. This time we beat them 5-3. Let's keep it up. And Ben Bishop, yes, so he got that game since he didn't get the Oilers. I'll keep him in for the next week or so or whatever. At least against this next game against the Red Wings. So 4 more games of Bishop, which result in a 4-3 win, a 5-1 win. Oh, Eberle against his old team, we lose 4-3 in the shootout. Panthers, we lose 6-5. So now I'm going to get Craig in against the Red Wings for this second game against them. So now with Craig Anderson against the Red Wings here at Little Caesars Arena. We're looking for win number 30 on the season, and it's a 5-0 shutout loss. Yikes. So we'll go back to Ben against Vancouver here, who we have a very similar record to them. It's going to be tight. They have just 3 points less than us, but 3 games in hand. So it's a very important couple of games here. So Bishop between the pipes, and after this game, it'll be game number 59, I believe. It's game 59. We'll take a pause after this, game number 59, with just 23 games left. And I will update the scouting and take a look at all the points and all the other team records. So let's just advance through this day here. We'll watch the other one more slowly. And it is a 6-4 loss. Things are starting to fall off a little bit. The wheels are slowly falling off. So through 59 games with just 23 to go, Matty Beniers has 62 points in those 59 games, over a point per game. Nate McKinnon has improved to point per game pace. Vladimir Tarasenko with 21 goals and 53 points. Andre Palat doing very well in that second line, 53 and 59 for him. Schwartz 49, Trocheck 44, all very good point totals. Jordan Eberle's been improving. He now is up to 14 points in 18 games. I even saw that he had 14 points in 16 games. So last 2 games he's been held off the scoreboard. But just to say, almost as many points in like less than half the amount of games they played with the Islanders this season. Really nice to see that. Ethan Bear, 28 points and a plus 16. Jared McCann, 27, negative 16. So the third line is still struggling a little bit. Donskoy, negative 15. Gambrel, 19 points. That's nice. Pulak's only a plus 1. Beans, a negative 14. Cholowski, 18 points and a plus 23. That's wild. Last season had 10 points and a plus 5. This year, 18 points. Almost as many games. 18 points plus 23. He's been good. Cole Lynn, 16 points. Appleton, 14. Fleury, 11. Alexiak, 9. And then down to low zone there. Goaltending. So Ben Bishop is 17, 12, and 6. But I want to see just his numbers with us. He is 7, 4, and 3 with 1 shutout, and that last couple of games, the last 2 starts he had have not been great. .894 save percentage, 3.06 goals against. Last time I looked, they were much better than that, but yeah. Craig Anderson, 8-8-0 with a shutout, .904 save percentage, 2.82 goals against. His season numbers, I don't think those are his season numbers. I don't know how he has, yeah, it's a .912 save percentage with 2.65 goals against. I'm not sure why it's showing me this instead. But that's how we're looking right now. The big dogs are still eating what they got to eat. They're enjoying. Their stomachs are full. But the depth and the goaltending still are not quite there. We're at 3.36 goals for per game, 3.08 goals against. Our power play is almost the same at 18.2. And our penalty kill has improved at 81.5. So I'm going to take a pause here to update the scouting. And we'll come back with this next game against the Vancouver Canucks. I think we'll go Craig Anderson in for that one. Scouting's all done, and I forgot that I wanted to look at the extension of Jake Bean. Now in the month of February, he's 25 years of age, currently making 2.335, and he's going to be an RFA at the end of this season. Currently, he wants a 4-year extension, which would bring him to the age of 29. Not sure when his birthday is. But his late 20s at 4.75 per year. We have $17.5 million in extension dollars remaining. I was thinking a 6-year deal, bring him to his early 30s. At 85% of 5.125, it would be 4.375. So 6 years at 4.375 for Jake Bean, who still, despite being an 83 overall, is a very good offensive defenseman, just having a down year due to chemistry. Give him the right chemistry and everything. I think getting him into his early 30s at this price tag would be pretty reasonable for both parties. So I'm going to go ahead and offer him that 6 years at 4.375. Jonas Donskoy could be another candidate to be extended. He wants a bit of an upgrade on the $3 million that he's getting right now. Jordan Eberle, if he continues to do well, maybe we bring him back, but he does want in the low 4s. Less than the 5.5 he's making now, so yeah, I could see Jordan Eberle coming back. Jared McCann, we want to get him signed on. He still wants a pretty fair amount of money for not having a great season right now. I was offering him a lot more in the offseason, so probably should have taken that when he could have. Dennis Chalowski's going to want a payday for sure. Only $3 million. Doesn't want that much. So Dennis Chalowski could probably wait on him as well. No big rush on a lot of these guys. Even Jake Bean wasn't a big rush, but just to get it done and have a better idea of our money situation whenever the offseason does come. Craig Anderson in net for this one against the Vancouver Canucks after we come off a 6-4 loss against them. They are 1 point behind with 3 games in hand. We'll go see this one at the Rogers Arena looking for our 30th win of the season. Canucks are 3-7-0 in their last 10, so that was a big win for them last game. We got to get one of them here and at least split it. First period, 3-1 Vancouver. Garland and then power play for Brock Besser. Short-handed goal from Hayden Fleury on Stuart Skinner from behind the blue line. And then Ryan Getzlaff, who's on Vancouver, scores for them. So shots 17-7, up by 2. Second period, now 4-4. That's huge. Vinny Trocheck on the power play. Brock Besser restores the 2-goal lead with his second of the night. But then Dylan Gambrell, our fourth-line center, and Jaden Schwartz on that third line with 4 seconds left. Ties this game up at 4. Shots are 25-17, and we have a game here. Final 20 minutes to decide it. Power play goal from the captain. Vladimir Tarasenko puts us up 5-4. Another power play opportunity, and it's Jake Bean. He's mulling over that contract, and he scores a power play goal to put us up by 2, but Brock Besser's hat trick brings Vancouver back within 1. Power play, Seattle's killed off by Vancouver this time. Shots are pretty even, 30-28. We're up by 1 with under 5 to go. It's a barn burner with 11 goals scored already. Final minute of play, and we hang on tight for the 6-5 victory. Shots end 31-29 for Vancouver, but we take it. The game winner going to the man looking for the extension, Jake Bean. 3 goals for Brock Besser, 3 assists for Quinn Hughes, and a goal and assist for Vinny Trocheck gets him third star of the night. It was a win by committee as we take it 6-5, the final, for win number 30 on the season. I'm going to get Ben Bishop back in nets now. Going to be a very tough matchup against the Ottawa Senators here, who are 38-17-3. Jake Bean, easy decision to decide to renew my contract. Very nice to see that. Jake Bean signing on long-term with us. Fantastic. Ottawa with Philip Grubauer in there. You know what? I want to go see this one live as well. I want to beat Philip Grubauer at home. The fans are not happy with how he performed here. Now he turns into a Vezina caliber goalie with the Senators. So let's get it done here in front of the home fans. 1-0 early on. It's Jamie Alexiak with the A on his chest. He beats that A on his chest as he beats Philip Grubauer. 1-0 Seattle after 20. Second period now. 3-0. Jared McCann. Vinny Trocheck short-handed. And we're up out shooting Ottawa 25-17. Up 3-0. This team knows how to beat Grubauer, and it's coming from Jared McCann as well, who knows him so well. Jake Sanderson scores the first against Bishop to bring Ottawa back within 2. This game is not over yet. 12 minutes to go, and shots are pretty even, but we are holding on to that 2-goal lead. Power play, 5-on-3, and Matty Beniers on the power play restores the 3-goal lead. Another power play for us now with 5 minutes to go. That one's killed off by Ottawa. 4-1 Seattle with just a couple minutes left, and that'll be it. Ben Bishop makes 30 saves and gets us the 4-1 victory. Grubauer beat him twice on 35 shots. First star of the night goes to Big Ben, of course. Game-winning goal to Jared McCann, and Matty Beniers' third star with a goal of his own. Big back-to-back wins there. We outscored our opponents, what, 10? Oh, Tarasenko strained hamstring. Not out for long, only a week or 2, so that's not a huge deal, but obviously one of our best goal scorers. So I'm going to switch up the lines here for a moment. So Schwartz is going to move up to the top line. Lind will play third line, and Brandon Tanev is going to come in on the fourth line. He has played a little bit this season, correct? No, not at all. He played in the AHL. Last season, played 63 games, scored 12 points. In 123 games, he has 6 goals and 22 assists and a negative 13. The math of my brain wasn't working there for a second. So, obviously, our pick from the Pittsburgh Penguins back in the expansion draft. Not too long that Vladimir Tarasenko will be out for, but we'll have to go the next few games without him. Outscoring our opponents 10-6 our last few games. Not ideal, but a big 4-1 victory there. We'll play the next 3 games before the trade deadline, see if we want to make any more changes. Playing Minnesota. Alexiak's been doing well for us. Minnesota, Vancouver, and then San Jose, some big games here. 5-3 win against the Minnesota Wild. Vancouver Canucks were 30-26-3. Huge 3-2 win against them. And another Pacific Division. Oh, no! Dennis Cholowski has a broken wrist and is out until, like, what? That's probably like round 3 of the playoffs, if we even made it that far. Oh, no. Oh, Dennis Cholowski having a career year on the first pair defense with Ethan Bear. That's really going to hurt. That really hurts. Oh, my goodness. Well, Lauzone's going to come in for sure. I don't think we're going to... I don't know. Let's give Lauzone a couple games, or at least a game to try it out. I don't know if we'll make a trade to fill it in, but let me fix up the lines. All right, so I guess we're going to go Bean and Bear on the top pair. But Bean, -12 and no chemistry in that top pair. They did not do well when they played together. So maybe we'll switch things up with Pulak, but we'll go like that. Alexiak Pulak on the second pair, Lauzone Fleury on the third pair. And if need be, our call-up, we could call up Ferenc or Jersey, but I think it has to be Kyle Wood. We're waiting for him to make his NHL debut. If we have another injury or if the defense isn't doing well, Kyle Wood will be the guy who gets called up. So we are getting close to seeing him with the Seattle Kraken. Regardless, that's going to hurt. Dennis Cholowski was pulling a lot of minutes. He was playing. I don't know what word to use, but he was really playing a lot. Tarasenko, might as well just keep him out for this last game because it's already been played. 1-0 shutout victory. So the defense came through there. 1-0 shutout. Big win there for Ben Bishop. Let's take a pause here at the trade deadline. I'm going to get Tarasenko back in the lineup, and we'll check out some points and see if we're going to make any trades. Tarasenko back in the lineup, so that's great. Let's check out what's been going on here at the trade deadline. I don't think we're going to be making any moves here. I like the position we're in draft-wise with our draft picks. I like the prospects that we are holding on to. We moved the people out who we didn't think were really going to work. I don't know if there's much left to do. Beniers and McKinnon over a point per game with great plus-minuses. Palat's having a great season right now at 55 points. Breaking last year, on pace to break what he did last year, I think. Maybe at least what he did in the first season, but last year was a good one. Just on pace to continue the great playmaking ability that he's been showing. Tarasenko 54 in 61. Schwartz 53. Trocheck 50. Eberle, he continues to do quite well for us as a playmaker with 18 points in 23 games. He's been a great addition for the team. Donskoy, McCann, plus minus is slightly improving, but still not great. Cole Lynn's having a good season with 21 points in 64 games. It's unfortunate that he only gets to play 7.5 minutes a night pretty much. There's not much room for him. Perhaps next season, though, if Donskoy moves out, that's a spot on the third line. Gambrel, 20 points as a fourth line center. Chalowski had 19 points and was a plus 20, playing over 19 minutes a night as an 81 overall. What a tank. It's going to hurt not having an Alexiak plus 8, Fleury plus 16, Lozone, he already had those 6 games, 2 goals, I believe, so he hasn't played yet for us. Goaltending, Craig Anderson is 9-8-0 with a shutout, 900 save percentage. Ben Bishop with us has improved. He's now, I think, 11-4-3 with 2 shutouts, 903 save percentage, 2.70 goals against. He has been improving, which is good. Steady improvement is definitely accepted here. We're second in the division, but it's still quite tight. Playoffs are getting a bit more definite as the ones at the bottom are dropping away more than we're pulling away. But our goals against and our goals for are continuing to differentiate themselves a bit more. Hopefully we can get the goals against into the 2s. Power play still at 18.4, and penalty kill improves to 82.6. Okay, still not great. That's 2% up on what we had when we started this off. So I'm not going to go through all the blocks and show you everything, but I will take a little look myself to do my due diligence, and I'll come back if there's anything that really piques my fancy. I didn't think we'd be making any moves, but here's something that has popped up in the trade blocks. There's a lot of teams with interesting players I'd like to go after to try and give a shot at the Cup. Guys like Phil Kessel on Buffalo, Patrick Marleau on Arizona, but both those teams have very similar, if not better, records than us, so it wouldn't make sense for that team to trade that player to us when we're pretty much in the same position. Minnesota, however, they're 26, 26, and 9, and Matt Zuccarello is on the block, as well as some other pieces like Greenway, Hartman, Strawman, and even Marc-Andre Fleury, but we're not going to be going after him. $10.44 million, no thank you. Matt Zuccarello, he is a playmaker, and he has 9 goals, 20 assists, -7 in 61 games played, 84 offensive awareness, 4-star puck skills and shooting, fits the second line and the power play. Now, if something goes wrong defensively, we can call up Kyle Wood and a couple other 78 overalls. But if something goes wrong offensively, I don't want to have only Brandon Tanev to turn to. Matt Zuccarello, with his overall, the team, and his trade value, it all comes together to make sense. We don't have a lot to send back the other way, but I'm going to see what, I guess, Minnesota is interested by. So even though I said I wanted to keep Gallagher, now would be a time where I'm interested in moving Gallagher. I didn't really want to do it when I was already giving up all those other prospects for Dawson, Mercer just for 1 in return, but I think Gallagher and a pick would make sense for Zuccarello. I even try Gallagher straight up for Zuccarello. They might want to just dump that money right now. And there you go. I almost feel guilty saying yes to this deal. I probably could have gotten even more, but I don't want to scam the system too much. A no-name prospect who probably won't make it for an NHL player. They feel like they're making out like gangbusters. I'm just happy to have him on the team. No problem with me. We're over the salary cap, but I can just send down Brandon Tanev. Not a big deal. Matt Zuccarello becomes our 13th forward / maybe someone who plays full-time over Mason Appleton, someone like that. I'm curious to see his line fit here, and it's not fantastic, but it will be good enough. So Matt Zuccarello, welcome to Team Bello, 36 years of age, undrafted, now on the 32nd team in the NHL. Appleton does have 5 goals, 11 assists, plus 1 on the year so far. If I were to put Matt Zuccarello in his place on the 4th line, it keeps a 0. Doesn't really do much, but I will give a little trial period between Zuccarello and Appleton to see who that 12th forward will be and who the 13th forward will be headed into the playoffs. Tanev will go back down, and then we'll get back into simulation. So I'm trying to send Tanev down, but now it would make our team go over the salary cap. So I'm very confused, not sure why that's the case. I guess I can't call anyone else up either. Like, if I did want to call up Wood, now I'd be over the salary cap. If I want to call up Wood and send down Tanev, I can't do that either. If I send down Gambrel as well, I could do that, but then Gambrel goes on waivers. We'll cross that bridge if and when we get to it. At the trade deadline now, we'll keep our current trade block, and we'll just end. Actually, we're going to continue simming because I don't want to make any more trades, which is going to mess up our lines or anything like that. Made that trade with the Wild for some depth forward power. Happy with that. Whether he works out or not doesn't really cost us anything. And we're ready for the final stretch. Any big trades around the NHL here? Will Butcher going to the Bruins. Lars Eller going to the Flyers. Beauvillier going to the Kings. Verana going back to the Washington Capitals for Connor McMichael in a little package deal there. Mackenzie Weegar going to the Capitals as well. See, it cost 2 seconds and a prospect. I didn't have that kind of money, that kind of value for Mackenzie Weegar. Noah Hannafin going back to Carolina for a Danielson, a second, and a third in a little package deal there as well. Craig Smith and Devon Tays going to Edmonton. Yeah, quite a few trades. Bobrovsky going to the Sharks for Laban, Clifton, and C-Mac. Bobrovsky and Noel, that is. And even Marcus Foligno going to the Panthers. So the quite a lot of moves in the NHL, I'll say that. But now Tarasenko's back in the lineup here against the Winnipeg Jets. Matt Zuccarello ready to make his Seattle Kraken debut. Let's do it here at Climate Pledge Arena. 34-26-4 versus 37-21-6. They're at the top of the Central Division. Let's hit it. First period, 1-1 game. Cole Lynn, there he is. I'm just talking about him. And Adam Lowry. 17-4 the shots through the first period, but it's tied at 1. My goodness, second period now. 3-1, lucky us. McKinnon scores twice. Still being outshot 26-17, but it's 3-1 Kraken as those two from McKinnon put us up by 2 here in the final 20 minutes. And Nathan McKinnon hat-trick. Only took him like a period and a half to do it, if you don't count the first period off from the point of his first goal. Power play for us is killed off. Up by 3 with 5 minutes to go, and we'll just call it a day right there. We got outshot 31-26, but another 30-save performance from Ben Bishop gives him second star honors. First star to Nate McKinnon with 3 goals. That's the Nate McKinnon that we signed. And 2 assists from Andre Palat. That gives us a very nice victory over the top of the Central Division Winnipeg Jets. And, Jason Demers going on waivers. Interesting. What's his situation like? He is a 79 overall, defensive defenseman, would fit deep pairing 3. Yeah, we have to. This makes a lot of sense for us. We need more insurance on defense. Even though Kyle Wood, I want him to be the next man up, that makes a lot of sense for us. If he doesn't play, we just let him walk in free agency. So Jason Demers, report to HC Pacific, whatever it's called. Pacific Palm Springs HC, whatever you want to call it. Let's keep on simulating, and we'll get Craig Anderson in against the Vegas Golden Knights. So we beat Dallas 5-3, a close 5-4 loss against the Ducks, then a close 3-2 win against the Ducks right after that, and another close 3-2 loss. We're at 37-28-4, coming up against the 30-32-6 Vegas Golden Knights, getting Craig Anderson between the pipes. He's not playing too much, but through those 5 games, a goal and an assist for Matt Zuccarello. Why not? Even though he's only playing about just under 9 minutes a night. Not too shabby for Matt Zuccarello. So Craig Anderson going to get Vegas here as we take them on at T-Mobile Arena. We're 8-2-0 in our last 10. We lose 3-1. We can't be dropping games like that. We're 3rd in the Pacific. Playoffs are looking pretty likely, but we still cannot be giving up games like that. Let's get Ben Bishop back in there. And you know what? We'll go Big Ben pretty much the rest of the way. Maybe we'll give the last game or 2 to Craig Anderson, but we're going to go Big Ben the rest of the way almost. Central Scouting, that's great. Chicago Blackhawks, they're a very good team. We lose 4-3. A lot of 1-goal losses here. When we do lose, it's very tight. 3-1 win against Vegas after they beat us 3-1 the week prior. LA Kings, we beat them 5-1. That's a big win. Looking for our 40th win of the season against St. Louis, but it has to wait as we lose 3-2. Now taking on Matt Zuccarello's old team, the Minnesota Wild, who are 32-30-10. We beat them 6-4 and then beat Dallas 3-1. We're 41-31-4 with just a few games left, couple weeks left of action. 4-3 shootout loss against the New York Islanders, Eberle's old team. 4-2 win against the Oilers as we have clinched a playoff spot for our 3rd straight season. It wasn't looking great, but we made it. 5-2 win against Dallas. Edmonton again, this time we lose 3-2. Lauzon was already fully healed, just a quick injury there. Now taking on Anaheim and then Calgary. Stefan Noesen going on waivers, probably going to pass on him. 78 overall, 2-way forward. No, don't need 2 years of that. As Anaheim are 35-39-5, and the Calgary Flames are 34-41-5. So you know what? I'll go Bishop, and then last game can go to Craig Anderson, and Bishop can get a little bit of a rest before game 1 of the playoffs. So Anaheim Ducks, we lose 6-1 against them. You know what? No. I'm going to go Bishop again then, because I need him to go into the playoffs with some confidence. So I'm sorry, Craig. I'm going to have to go one more game for Big Ben against the Calgary Flames at the Scotiabank Saddle Dome, looking for win number 44, and we win it 5-3. So a 44-win season. We really turned things around from 20-20-1. In the second half of the season, we go 24 13-4. How about that? Let's get a recap of everything that went down here in the regular season in the end. 44, 33, and 5. Good enough for second in the Pacific Division. Only 3 points behind the Edmonton Oilers. But you know what? Some teams haven't finished their season. So let me just advance one more day. And there we go. Everyone's done now. So Anaheim, San Jose, Vegas, Calgary all missing out here in the Pacific Division. In the entire NHL, the Columbus Blue Jackets, throwback to our last series, win the President's Trophy, going 54-21-7. Winnipeg, Philadelphia, New York Islanders, Senators, Hurricanes, and down the list we go. We were good enough for 12th in the NHL. Our goals for per game still stayed up there at 3.39, but we finally got below 3 goals against per game at 2.96. Our power play dropped to 16.5. We lost a couple percent in the last 23 games or so. And our pound to kill went up, continued to increase, up to 83.3. Still not ideal, as that's closer to the bottom than the top. Our power play, though, comparatively not too bad. 22.4 is best in the NHL. So us having 16.5, excuse me, was not too bad, even though it dropped a bit. More in the middle, but closer to the top than the bottom. Take a bow, Matty Beniers, in just his second NHL season. 37 goals and 89 points in all 82 games played. One more goal than last season, but more than double, almost triple the amount of assists. So great to see that. 89 points on the year from Matty Beniers. Nate McKinnon, 80 points in 82 games. Not quite the pace that he's been on the last couple years, but still amazing year from him. We moved him down to the second line, and things seem to be doing better there when we mixed around the top 6. Vladimir Tarasenko, 74 in 79, continuing that around a point per game pace. Not as good as last season, but better than the season before that. So pretty much an average of those two. Lower on the goal scoring end and higher on the assist end. I think that's a career high in assists with 46 right there. Indeed it is. Vinny Trocheck, just a couple points off what he did last season. He really turned it around, getting up to that top line. 8 points off last year, but still a 19 goal and 49 assist performance nonetheless. Really an apple machine there. And speaking of apples, Andre Palat gets 65 points, a new career high by 1. What a season. Actually, 63, yeah. New career high by 1 point. What a season for him, and he's signed for one more year after this one at 5.250. James Schwartz, 22 goals and 40 assists. A great year from him. Not as good as last year again, but still, we transitioned him down to the third line, and he really helped out down there. So we appreciate that. Jordan Eberle, in the end, with the 41 games that he played for us, he scored 29 points. So much better than he was doing on the New York Islanders, and we're happy to have gotten him on the team. Donskoy, 40 and 81. McCann, 39. Zuccarello ended up playing quite a bit on that fourth line, and he ends with 5 points in 18 games. Not too shabby at all. +5 and just 10 minutes of ice time a night. So happy to have him going into the playoffs. 34-point season for Ethan Bear. 28 and 82 for Cole Lind. Pulak, 28 as well. Bean, 28 there as well. Gambrel, 25. Great to see that. Chalowski with 19, of course. Alexiak, 17 with a +17. Love it. Appleton, 16 +1. Fleury, 15 +12. Lauzon ended with 3 points and a -2. Only 1 assist in, 18 games that he played there? So maybe we make a change headed into the playoffs. Goaltending wise now, Ben Bishop ended with a 30-win season. With us, he played 36 games and went 20, 10, and 4 with 2 shutouts, a .904 save percentage, and 2.70 goals against average. We'll take it. We'll take that. Ends with a 2.58 goals against average overall and .912 save percentage. Craig Anderson went 10, 9, and 0, 1 shutout. Not the craziest numbers there. I'll definitely admit that. Looking at the AHL here, Peyton Wilm, up to an 80 overall. Season's still going. 49, 23, and 2. 11 shutouts, 915 save percentage, and 1.99 goals against average. My goodness, I can't wait to see this guy in the NHL. So glad we traded up to take him at the 19th overall pick in the 2022 draft. Point scorers at the moment here, Mason Shaw, 64 and 82. Ryan Suzuki. Dawson Mercer. So with us in the AHL, he scored 25 points in 39 games, pretty much the same pace he was on with the Wilkes-Barre Scranton Penguins. Maloney 51, Heiskanen 24 goals and 50, and down the list it goes. Rosean 49 in 82. In the entire NHL, it was Leon Draisaitl with 100 points in 82 games. Svitov 97 points and 47 goals. Patty Kane though 48 goals at the age of 35. Whew, take a bow. Aho, Pasternak, Teravainen, great year. Matty Benier's up there. He's tied with Connor McDavid for the amount of points. But Rocket Richard going to Alex Ovechkin, my goodness, 59 goals at the age of, if the menus could load here, at the age of 38. Shoo! Matty Barzal, Patrice Bergeron, Panarin, Crosby. I wish these menus weren't so slow. Bushnevich, DeBrincat, Shane Wright, McKinnon up there as well. He's with the Coyotes, Shane Wright is? Yes. 81 point season for him. Goalies around the NHL. Looks like the Vezina is going to be going to, Aaron Dell had the most wins at 41. But the, let's see, minimum of 30 games. Save percentage, Darcy Kemper, Cal Peterson. Probably Darcy Kemper at the age of 33 with the Detroit Red Wings, looking to get himself a Vezina trophy there. Let's check out some of the totals of players that we've traded away. Most notably, Martin Kaut. I want to see if he did anything over on the New York Islanders. Let's see here. Of course he did, right? Yeah, of course he did. Ended at a negative 11, though. In the 40 games that he played, he scored 14. So pretty much the same thing he was doing there, doing with us on the fourth line. He was doing with less ice time even on the Islanders. So whatever, good for him. And Malcolm Subban here on the Oilers, I guess they decided to keep him as the backup. He went 8-3-0 with a .918 save percentage and 2.62 goals against average. Nothing new, eh? Look at the difference between what he's doing with us and what he did with Edmonton. Nothing new there. I can't quite remember every player we ever traded away, but it's just crazy to find Ryan Donato on the Leafs. We traded him for like a, third-round pick last season, and he scored 10 points in 22 games, and then this season gets 51 in 82. So take a bow, Ryan Donato. Good for you. I'm not going to go through every single player that we traded away, but if there's anyone you want to know about how they did, just leave a comment here or a message on Discord, and I will check out their totals for the season for you. So without further ado, let's see who we're going to be taking on in round number 1 of the year number 3 playoffs. Year number 1, we lost in Game 7 of round 2. Year number 2, we lost in the first round in, 5 games to Calgary? And in year number 3, we're taking on the Los Angeles Kings, who went 43, 33, and 6 on the year, but they did end the season 3-6 and 1. So maybe we can take advantage of that little bit of a slump. The Kings are a very strong team, as we've been seeing them a lot in this in our Pacific Division throughout the season. Anze Kopitar leading them on that first line, still as good as ever. Actually, he's now into an 82 overall, but you wouldn't be able to tell by his point totals. Bergeron and Beauvillier on that first line. Second line, Yafalo, Turcotte, and Kempe. Third line, Kaliev, Philippe Danault, and Gabe Vilardi. Fourth line, Pius, Patrick Kane, Quinton Byfield, and Adam Gaudette. Defense, Doughty, Clark, Anderson, Letang, Dahan, and Stetcher. Between the pipes, it's Vitek Vanacek, backed up by Cam Talbot. Walker, Roy, and Kupari, all as healthy scratches. So not going to be an easy one, but I think maybe if we could take advantage of their maybe lack of scoring throughout the lineup and try to break through that defense, that would be our key here. So that's it for this one. Bit of a long one, especially for a second half of a season episode, but I hope you enjoyed it. Things turned around in a big way with those moves, so thank you for those suggestions, everybody. I hope that you enjoyed the season. If you did, leave a like. Be sure to subscribe if you haven't already. A lot of videos coming out recently, including the line chemistry video, my custom roster video, how to make teams cap compliant so that the franchise mode AIGM doesn't mess up all the teams and their salaries, the NHL 7 Dynasty mode, and of course our NHL 22 Dynasty mode here with Seattle. So make sure to subscribe so you're made aware of all those uploads. Links for everything else are down in the description. The Twitch page, which is going to be a lot more active here in the holidays, as well as the Discord server where we'd love to have you to discuss more things, in most notably franchise mode. Let me know if you think this team needs any changes headed into the playoffs down here on YouTube or on Discord, whether it be for the forwards, the defense, should we call anybody up, the special teams, the power play here, the penalty kill here, and potential people we could call up, all these people here in the AHL. I don't know if anyone's ready for the playoffs just yet. Maybe Kyle Wood, I don't know. And Peyton Will, of course, at an 80 overall. So looking forward to hearing all of those suggestions headed into the year number 3 playoffs. We made it. We made the right tweaks. We didn't pay too much, and we are here. So fingers crossed. I'd love to hear your predictions heading into the playoffs as well. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch, and I will see you in the 2024 postseason.